Hey YouTube land, it's Tychonders here doing another action figure review. Now this is a review for the Doom Slayer from the video game Doom. And before I get onto the figure, as you can see here, I'm going to get on to the packaging. So this guy is made by Mcfarlane Toys. Here is the front of the box. He comes in a window box style box packaging. So you have the Doom logo at the top, 14 plus, not a toy. And just for a disclaimer, these video reviews are intended for collectors 13 plus. So as it says on the box, it's 14 plus for this, and it is not a toy. 22 moving parts. Just has Doom Slayer on the side. On the back of the box, it just has an image of the figure in kind of a backdrop. Same thing for the side, and the artwork is continued on from the bottom of the box around the side. It says Bethesda, and then on the bottom you have all the legalese stuff. So the box is pretty straightforward. There's nothing too much to it. So he does come with 3 accessories, one of which he doesn't generally need because he's pretty good at standing without it. But he does come with a Doom stand, so it has the Doom logo on it. So let me just readjust my camera there a second so you can see the figure in all his glory. So you have the Doom stand, the shotgun with the blade kind of attachment, and then he has a blade that fits under his arm. And then technically it's not an accessory, but it is an extra weapon that he has. He does, we're going to rotate it around, have a mounted shoulder cannon thing. I can't remember if it is a shoulder cannon, but it's very similar to what was in what the Predators have. That's what it reminds me of, the plasma cannon from, or the plasma caster from Predator. But the figure itself is quite nicely done. He's quite articulated. So these shoulder pads are actually on a ball joint, so it gives you a bit of a range of movement. His head is on a ball joint. The one thing I find weird about this figure is that he has no neck. I'm not sure if you can see that on the video, but if you move the neck head forward, there isn't like, it would have been nice if Mcfarlane had put like a piece just in there to kind of simulate a neck covering, so you don't see much of the gap. But if you're not moving the head too much, you don't see it. That the helmet will cover it. But if you move the head really far forward, it just looks really weird and gappy at the back. But what it is a dumbbell, or kind of a dual peg, so one's in the head, one's in the neck section. He does have waist articulation. He has a double joint, so he has one at the bottom of the waist and one at the diaphragm. You can get him to move. He has splits that much. It is hindered by sculpting. He can go forward that much, slightly hindered. He has ratcheted knees. It's not double jointed, but he has ankle articulation, which is quite tight as well because of the sculpt of the foot. He doesn't exactly have a thigh swivel. He does have a joint in there, but you can get a slight side to side, so, but it isn't like a standard joint. He only has single elbow movement. He has shoulder movement out that much, and you can rotate all the way around. You just have to move the shoulder pad out of the way. He doesn't have bicep swivel. He does have a sort of weird joint. It gives a slight bit of a curve, but it's not an actual curve. And then he has the wrists that can hinge in and out. And he can hold his shotgun in either hand. So yeah, you can do right-handed, or if you want to have him hold it in the left hand, you can. Now the blade attachment is only designed to fit in the left hand because there is an indentation on the bottom of his hand where it should peg in. It doesn't tend to peg in quite securely on mine. It does pop out quite a bit, but it just sits right in the wrist gauntlet. I don't remember using it that much in the game. I have played the Doom game, I just don't remember it. Or maybe it's because it's supposed to be from the Doom Eternal game and that game got delayed. I can't remember if this is just based on Doom Eternal design or the original Doom, but it says Doom Slayer and it has the Doom logo as opposed to Doom Eternal. So who knows, and maybe we'll get another figure from Mcfarlane for Doom Eternal, and it will have more weaponry. It is a shame that they didn't include more weapons with this guy. I would have loved seeing a BFG, but as it is, oh, he has peg holes on the bottom of his feet. He doesn't have a hinge on the foot at all, as in like on the toe as some figures. But as I said, he doesn't really need his stand to stand up. He's bulky enough and his feet are flat enough that he generally tends to stand without it. So you don't really need to put him on it, but if you want to display him with it and have the guns and stuff on him, you can. So he's quite nicely sculpted, and I said I have no problems with the sculpt and the painting. And just flip him around the back, you can see it has all the elbow pads, all the indents and the straps and all the kind of stuff on him. He looks ready to rock. So he is in a 7-inch scale, if I remember correctly, but he's closer to 7.5. But he is supposed to scale up with other figures that are in the 7-inch scale. So just because I have her handy, here's Mashinko. I hope that's pronounced right, from the Predator line. So you can see he scales pretty well with there. And just pop her there. I have the Alien Covenant Xenomorph, which is quite a big figure, so I'll just bring him in a small bit, but you can see it does stand up quite nice. Now unfortunately I haven't heard if they're going to do any more figures from this series other than the Doomslayer. I would love to see if they do, is it the Covenant? Is that what they're called? The guys with the kind of twin, skeletal guys with the twin cannons on them. That would look awesome, but I'd hope they do a little bit more articulation on them because they're quite a skinny figure. But all in all, the Doomslayer is quite a good figure. He should be available now in most kind of comic book and game stores. I don't think he was exclusive to any place. I managed to get this guy on Big Bad Toy Store, but I don't think I think actually there is an exclusive version to GameStop of this figure, and he's a kind of a goldish color, if I remember correctly. He has some sort of special paint apps, but for the most part he's the same figure with the same accessory. He doesn't have any extra weapons or different weapons, but it depends on preference. If you want one that looks a bit more goldish, then you could go for that one, or have both, whichever one you want. But overall, he's a great figure. I do recommend picking him up if you're a fan of the game series. Even if you're not a fan of the game series and you want to do some crossover stuff, diorama shots like with the Predator figures, he works quite well at that. You can have him as a kind of a bolstered up colonial marine if you want to do it that way, and have him like leading the charge with Hicks and Hudson and stuff like that behind him for kind of weird crossover diorama shots. But there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed this figure review, and as I say in my videos, please feel free to like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Cheers, guys.